The quiet park, the old city park, always smelled of linden blossoms and fresh grass. Every morning Olena came to her favorite bench beneath a broad maple tree. Sometimes she brought a book, sometimes a thermos of tea, and sometimes only her thoughts. Her life was calm and steady, yet deep inside there remained a fine thread of waiting she could never quite explain. One early June morning, when the sun draped soft gold across the leaves, a ginger cat appeared. He stopped beside the bench, amber eyes fixed on her as if carrying a silent message. Then, without hesitation, he leapt onto the bench and settled on her lap. Olena froze for a heartbeat, then smiled and gently stroked the warm, silky fur. From that day on, the ginger visitor returned each morning. They shared an easy silence, a quiet understanding. The cat became part of her mornings, and she part of his small, roaming world. An evening later that summer brought a surprise. Olena sat in her usual place when a young man approached with a camera. Tall, dark-haired, and carrying a curious warmth in his eyes, he paused politely. "Excuse me," he said. "I'm a photographer. You and this cat, you look perfect together. May I take a picture?" Slightly startled but intrigued, Olena nodded. The man introduced himself as Mark. He was working on a series of photographs capturing life in city parks. The image of the girl and the ginger cat turned out beautifully soft and bright. After a few shots, conversation flowed. First about the cat, then about books, then about their favorite corners of the city. Mark explained that he traveled across the country, collecting stories of people and places. Olena confessed her quiet dream of opening a little cafe filled with books. Weeks passed in a gentle rhythm. Every morning they met, Olena, Mark, and the ginger cat, whom they now called Sun. One day Mark suggested visiting an old cafe nearby. The air there smelled of cinnamon and roasted beans, and black and white photos of forgotten streets lined the walls. They began leaving each other small notes, tiny letters tucked under a coffee cup or between book pages. The words were simple, yet glowed with warmth. "Today your smile feels like sunrise," Mark wrote once. "With you, even an ordinary park becomes a fairy tale," Olena replied. Summer slipped into autumn. Days grew shorter, the air crisper. Mark's work called him onward, new cities, new stories. Both of them dreaded the thought of parting. They sat silently on the bench one late afternoon while Sun pressed close to Olena, sensing their mood. "I'll come back," Mark whispered. "You become part of my story." Olena nodded, holding his latest note tightly. She didn't know how long it might be, but she felt with quiet certainty that this love would not fade with the seasons. Spring bloomed a year to the day after their first meeting. Mark appeared on the familiar path, a photo album in hand. Inside were images from a year of travel parks, strangers, landscapes, but on every page Olena sensed echoes of their own shared moments. "I spent the whole year photographing," Mark said softly, eyes locked on hers, "but I knew my best picture was still waiting. It's here with you." He opened to the final page. There she was, Olena on the bench, Sun curled contentedly in her lap, morning light spilling like honey. On the back he had written, "Would you like to keep writing this story together?" Warmth filled her chest. Sun purred between them, as if offering his blessing. From that day forward the park became their special place. They watched sunrises side by side, planned the book-filled cafe they had once only imagined, and carried the gentle certainty that love does not need grand gestures to be real. Their love remained quiet like the rustle of leaves, but deep enough to turn each ordinary day into a small miracle. I'd be happy to have you among the subscribers. Click subscribe and let's create stories together.